So this is the only tool you need, a neodymium magnet you can pick up from Amazon, eBay, wherever. Now I'm going to give you a rundown of what I'm trying to do and what you might be trying to do. You've got the joists in the ceiling or the studs in the wall. They're basically just bits of timber, and on top of that you'll have drywall plasterboarding, and it'll be nailed on in the early days or screwed on these days. Now what you're trying to do is find the head of these nails or screws. Screws are probably going to be easier to find. If they're actually screwed into a metal frame stud work rather than wood, they'll probably be even easier to find because the conductivity will be far greater. But basically you're just running the magnet across the surface and you're hoping to pick up where the head of the screw is. Now obviously it all depends on the strength of your magnet. If you've got a real good strong magnet, you should be able to pick them up as long as the plaster's not too thick. But you can see here I'm not having any problem finding them. Now of course this is no guarantee that you're going to find anything. It's not telling you where the wiring is underneath if you don't know where that is. So all of this is basically down to you. If you get it wrong, your problem. But that's the same for everything. But this is the simplest way. I know that a lot of people have bought, you can buy stud detectors and they're really not that good. And the money you pay for them compared with a magnet, the chances are this will do everything you need. Now for me, what I was trying to do was I had a skylight, and off that were two planes in the ceiling with lights to be put in. Now when the lights wiring was put in, there was no absolute definition of the walls, so they were just measured off the skylight. And now the walls are up, you look at the measurements and the lights are slightly out of alignment in the room. So what I'm trying to do is balance up the two sets of lights against the room size, so they're the same distance from the walls. Now the restriction I've got there is A, where the wiring is, and B, where the studs are. Now fortunately the lights I'm putting in are shallow, they're no deeper than the plasterboard themselves, providing you've got somewhere to put the transformer. So it didn't matter if I went up or even slightly over a joist. So anyway, I'd already measured up and balanced them out, and then it was just to find out where the joists were and how far I could move the lights to get them correctly placed. And as you can see, the magnet just picks up the head, and when you're stroking it across, sometimes you can start to feel it as you're getting close to one. You'll feel it just twitch a little bit. And you see some videos about this, and all the screws in a nice line, and they're all evenly spaced. In the real world, that doesn't happen. They could be all over the joist a little bit, and spacing between each screw may not be even. It could be all over the place, in fact, for many reasons. So as you're passing the magnet across, you'll feel it twitch. Sometimes you know you're getting close, and within reason you can then work out where they are, because generally speaking they'll all be in a row-ish, and then they'll all be the same distance apart-ish. But once you've picked one up, it gives you an easier clue as to where you're going. So just gently rub it across the surface and you'll find it just twitch. Now as I said, disclaimer, this is all down to you. I've used this technique for a long time and it's worked for me. But there's no guarantee it's going to find your joist. If you're actually specifically looking for a joist to mount something onto, sometimes it might not be where you think it's going to be. There's always a direction issue as well. Which way are they running? But what I needed to do here was simply find out where the joists were in relation to the holes for the lamps. Now there you can just see on this one, I just caught the edge of the joist. Again, for the lamps I'm fitting, I knew that wasn't going to be a problem. So there you go. Off you go. Get yourself a magnet. Try and work it out for yourself. Before you leave, just make sure you've hit the subscribe button. If you're going to hang around and watch all the video, I'll tell you a bit what I'm doing here. The lamps I'm using are JCC. They're made in China. Don't know who for. I picked them up at Little Electrical Factors. And simply, I knew where the wiring was because I had a map. And it was just a matter of moving the lamps to the right place and fitting them. Here we go, JCC. Nice lights, 7 watts, really quite bright actually, but they're diffused, so they're not actually spot lamps, and they do create a nice overall light, and there's quite a wide beam pattern too. And they dissolve into the ceiling almost when you put them up on a white painted ceiling, and they just almost disappear. I'm really quite impressed with these little lamps. But anyway, wiring simple enough. I'm not an electrician. I had an electrician on hand and he was watching everything. He just didn't want to be on camera, so fair enough. But the lamps themselves come with a transformer, so you've got to make sure there's enough room, a cavity above, and they're just simply held in place with 2 springs. Nicely on these ones, I've used lamps before and they don't normally come with little rubber buffers, and they fit up there quite nicely. Quite click too, don't want. Wiring wise, it's live and neutral. European code here, so brown is the positive and blue is the negative. So you'll see me just cut the earth cable out in a second because it's just not required for these lamps. There you go, just parting the wire and the earth in there. I don't know what they use in other countries, but in Europe pretty much all the wiring is like this. This is called a twin and earth. So you've got your live and neutral, and they're shielded. And you've got an earth cable which is bare in the middle. And the connectors on these lamps are just simple push fit. So I just personally, when I load the wires in, I press the release buttons just to make it easier to push in. Let go of the release buttons and then give them a little tug out and tug on the wire just to make sure that it's all nice and secure. Screw the gripper and insulation cover on and pop them up in the ceiling. Job done. At the end of the video I'll show you a picture of the lights working. There's 4 of these in this room. There was 4 in the room which effectively I think is behind me now, and there's another room, got 8 lamps in the ceiling. Now this room effectively has actually got another set of 3 pendant lamps in the middle of it. So there's plenty of lighting in this room. Again, just feed the wire clips in and it just pops up there nice and flush. Get rid of the tapes. There you go. Never know I was there. Which is just as well. Finish lights. And look, they work. Amazing. Although it does upset my camera a little bit. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. This is a bit of diversion from my normal kind of video, but hey, thanks for your time anyway. Ta-da.